Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so welcome to the podcast, guys. I am your host, hdzombieandre, and I'm here without my co-host, Spartan. He's not feeling that well today. Kind of sucks, but we're going to proceed forward with this podcast, guys. So first of all, I wanted to talk about was Andor. So last podcast we kind of talked about was just different things we were going to do, what was going to happen at D23, and me finishing up Andor Season Uno. So, I have good news, everybody. I did finally finish Andor Season 1. So, I guess first of all, before I even start, guys, I apologize because I was on a vacation and got back. We usually have our podcast on Monday, and I was just exhausted. Like, literally, I had to get a flight early in the morning, and I just didn't really get any sleep at all. So I was like, I'm going to take Monday off, sleep. And that's what I did. And then Tuesday, our co-host, Spartan, he actually got sick, and I'm still guessing he's still recovering as we speak, which sucks. So that is why we're having the podcast today. He was like, you should just do it, just get it out of the way, tell him what you think about Andor, so we can just move on with our next podcast. So we will still have the podcast on Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully next Monday we'll have our co-host Spartan back, which will be awesome. But we're going to talk a little bit about Andor. So we kind of talked about the first 5 episodes. We're going to finish talking about the whole season. So first of all, this podcast, guys, this episode is gonna be pretty short. I'm not gonna be doing it for really long. I got some stuff going on today, but I wanted to squeeze it in, kind of get my thoughts about Andor season 1 first and foremost done. So Andor, I can tell you one thing. I can definitely see why a lot of people really like the Andor series. It's probably one of the better. It is the better of the Star Wars TV series. Is live action. I can definitely see why. And the Andor story definitely made me care about a lot of these characters. Andor, the trials and tribulations he faced on his journey, and also his mother, his other friends. We see a lot of different things happen through this journey. And it really... I feel like Andor is a very good story. It's pretty much, I would say, a live-action story of how the rebellion began, because you really get to see one of the side stories from not just Andor is Mon Mothma. You kind of see how she gets involved in the rebellion, how the rebellion is kind of born from a lot of these small, I guess, civilizations. They're off on different planets, how the Empire kind of pushed them to that limit where they're like, okay, we're done with this, we're doing this. And you kind of see Mon Mothma and how she kind of is, if you guys don't know, Mon Mothma, she's one of the leaders of the rebellion. She is a politician, so she has a lot of wealth in her hands, and you're kind of seeing her maneuver the political world and how she's trying to fund this rebellion. It's pretty much the birth of the rebellion. That's pretty much what the TV series is about, but it's also the story of Andor and how he kind of was a person that was more just looking out for himself, or kind of like a, what I would say, I kind of say like kind of like a Han Solo in a way, kind of looking out for himself, but now he's kind of leaning more towards a purpose or to a cause. The rebellion, pretty much. He's wanting to help others, especially as you see in the series, what happens to his home. And what happens there kind of affects, and what happens to his mother really affects a lot of him going forward. And where they left off with season 1 was fantastic. It just made me go, wow. I understand why now a lot of people like this series. It's very, very good. And I'm excited to see what Season 2 brings. Because as I said, the only thing that sucks about this is that we technically know the ending of how our main character, Andor, and what happens to the people of Rogue One, kind of in a way. Now, that's the one thing that sucks, because I kind of wish we did go into this not knowing, because then, as I said, after Season 2, which I think is going to be the final season of Andor, we know his comeuppance. We know what happens to him in Rogue One because Rogue One came out. Rogue One is probably one of the better, personally, in my opinion, one of the better Disney Star Wars movies. In my opinion, I really do like it. I like a lot of the actors in it and whatnot. But yeah, I'm excited, and I did enjoy Andor Season 1. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it a lot. And it was great, in my opinion. I really do feel like it's definitely worth a watch if you guys are very interested in it. And just understand, though, that what my co-host said, Spartan, is that it's pretty much set as like arcs. Pretty much the arcs are about 3 episodes long. There's different arcs in this story, 12 episodes in total, so 4 different arcs. But yeah, each arc is about 3 episodes long. And I'm not going to lie, at the very beginning, it is very slow. It is kind of hard to get into. You just kind of have to give it some time. But trust me, once you get past that first arc, that's when things start picking up. And things start definitely escalating and things start happening. And it's a very, very good show. Very good show indeed. I definitely would recommend, to be honest with you, I would recommend definitely checking it out, ladies and gentlemen. So, I want to talk about one other thing today, guys. I think that's the end of my thoughts. Great, fantastic. Totally check it out because it is worth it, in my opinion. It's very much worth every penny to watch it. But I have actually something I want to show you guys. We're going to watch some news that came out just recently, to be honest. And it was very interesting. It was very interesting news. I actually didn't believe it at first, but it came out just this week. And if you guys haven't heard of it, it's going to be news to you, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about it. And I think that will be the end of our podcast for today. But let's give it a shot. I'll be quiet. Let's watch it and see what you guys think. This is a Asmongold clip, just to let you guys know. I just found one that was really quick, so we can just kind of talk about it, just get out the news. Asmongold's pretty cool guy.
Season 2 for Disney Plus's Star Wars. This is really not a shock, I think, to anybody. And Acolyte will not continue with Lucasfilm opting not to proceed with a second season. A word on the decision comes more than a month after the 8-episode season of the series from the creator wrapped its run on Disney. So the reason why this happened is that a lot of people didn't watch the show and people didn't like it, right? This might sound like some kind of crazy thing. I mean, if a lot of people had watched this, then you probably would have seen another season. But audiences simply weren't interested in this kind of a story. Yeah, $108 million down the drain. Well, I think this is a good thing, though, right? I mean, it's obviously a very, very good thing. You see people that are obviously trying to act like this show was actually good. And this is the issue with telling the fans that they're wrong. You don't get to do that. That's not the way the world works. If you look at the amount of people that care about Star Wars, it's mainly a bunch of dudes that want to see other dudes cut each other up with lightsabers, right? Like, nobody cares about like some like lesbian commune that comes together and like births some person out of the belief of the Force. Who the fuck like watches Star Wars that wants to see that? And so you can push this on people and you can tell them that they can't have a public opinion about it that's negative. But what's going to end up really happening is that it doesn't really matter because they're still not going to watch the show.
Okay, there we go. Now you can hear me. Okay, we're going to stop right there. So, news just came this week that the Acolyte Season 2, Acolyte is not continuing. Acolyte Season 2 is not happening. And kind of like what Asmongold has said in his video, or the clip, is that, really, to be honest, if we look at it statistically, it makes sense, especially when you look at the numbers of the viewer count. It just wasn't great. It was lower than Ahsoka. It was lower than a lot of the TV series. And you got to think about it, guys. They put $23 million into this. $23 million. And they didn't get that money back. And with how Disney has been kind of turning a little bit, as I've been seeing, is like they're stopping projects that aren't making money. They're not just keep pushing them out, it seems like. It might also be just by the contract contractual obligation that they signed at the time. But I'm guessing with Acolyte specifically, it was just a one season, let's see what happens, and then if it does good enough, we'll get another season. And to be honest, guys, when it comes to Acolyte, like where I stand with the Acolyte series, I just think the story, like the concept for the story, it's interesting. It's not that the story of what they had was not interesting. It was just written so poorly. The characters were so written so badly. Some of the cinematography just wasn't the best. But there was great actors in it, and then there wasn't some good actors in it. And I think when it comes down to it, I think it was just mainly the writing. It was just not it was so boring. And what they were trying to push as it saying the Jedi are bad, I think that would be an interesting story. But sadly, with what they were presenting us in the story, it just didn't make sense. And I didn't agree with what they were trying to perceive or what they were trying to tell us, because if you look at it from the circumstances of what they were in, the Jedi, it would make sense what they did. Like, if somebody came at me and turned into a big, giant, like, ghost monster, and I've never seen it before, I would probably freak out, It just makes sense in that kind of mentality of things. So the Acolyte Season 2 is not happening. I know it's raising a lot of questions because of what they've done with the story. Is it going to be something where they're just going to be like, oh, it's there, and they're just going to forget about it? Or is it going to be something worse, where what they try to do with the live TV series of Willow, and the backlash was so bad about that series that they literally have taken it off of Disney Plus, and you cannot watch it anymore. It's gone, which is really interesting. But I don't know. I know a lot of people are upset. Some people are upset, and I understand. But as I said, it's not because. I know, like, some people are saying, well, it's because all the negativity about it online, which I guess would kind of affect it in a way. But the main reason is just because people weren't watching it. A lot of people did not want to watch it. But as I said, like, the numbers for when it started was very big. And I think it was near the end, it kind of rose a bit as well. But it comes down to, it's just not a lot of people are watching. A lot of people gave it a chance, and then just it did not catch their interest. And it just lost a lot of viewers. And didn't get a lot of viewers at the end of the series. And it's, as I said, to me, it was mainly the storytelling. And to be honest, I was not looking forward to watching another season of the series unless they did like a big change, a lot of the directing, a lot of the writing, and a lot of that stuff, because the characters weren't really that interesting. There was a lot of questions that you were asking, and a lot of things just didn't make sense. Like, with the story, with like the world of Star Wars and what happened in that series, it just didn't make sense. It's just a really weird place it's in. But as I said, Acolyte Season 2 is not happening. And maybe it's for the better. Maybe they can use some of that money towards some other project that maybe will do better. And I think that's a good thing. Why put money towards a project that's not making its money back? And you got to remember, it's a business at the end of the day. They're going to be supporting projects and pushing products that are giving them money back. And if they're not, then they're going to cut them, because why waste that money and lose that money when you can put it into something that might do a little bit better? But I think that's the end of the podcast for today, guys. Thank you guys so much. I know it's like only a 15-minute podcast. Pretty short. But I guess it also comes down to me. I don't have anyone to banter with, so it's kind of just me, myself, and I. But I hope you guys did enjoy the episode, or we'll call it a little episode, kind of talking about Andor and the future of Acolyte, which sadly it's not continuing. I'm okay with that. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll